A sneaky big signing for the Phoenix Suns as they have filled their final roster spot. GM's James Jones helping to sign Josh Okogie to a new 2-year deal, bringing him back to the Phoenix Suns. He is going to take that final spot, and now the Suns have 15 guys with guaranteed contracts on the roster. We are going to break down what this means for the Suns and how this team is shaping up now as Suns are seemingly done in free agency. Or are they? We are going to get into it right here on Suns Digest. My name is CJ Pierre. Thanks for joining us, you guys. We appreciate all the love and support. We noticed that about 84% of you guys are watching our videos, and we appreciate that. But those guys haven't subscribed to our channel just yet. If you want to make sure you're keeping up with all of the latest Suns news, rumors, and updates heading into training camp and into the start of next season, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing that we're going to have looking for you guys. Now, let's get into the news of the day, and that is Josh Okogie signing a new 2-year deal with the Phoenix Suns. Now, Okogie has been with the Suns for the past 2 seasons. He declined his player option with this potentially in mind. It's similar to what Damian Lee did when he declined his player option and then re-signed for more money. This is happening with Josh Okogie in this particular instance. Now, the reporting being coming from Shams that free agent Josh Okogie has agreed to a 2-year, $16 million deal to stay with the Phoenix Suns. Sources telling The Athletic. Okogie's agent, Calvin Andrews of Clutch Sports, has been negotiating the new contract with Suns officials. And that, like I said before, that signing right there means Josh Okogie rounds out the Suns roster heading in to the 2024-2025 season. Bringing Okogie back is seemingly something that the Suns have been talking about for a while. It's been reported that they wanted to bring him back. And after Kyle Lowry decided to re-sign with the Philadelphia 76ers, it just seemed like this was going to be a done deal. Last season's numbers for Josh Okogie: 4.6 points per game, 2.6 rebounds per game, 1.1 assists, shooting 41% from the field, 30% from three-point range, and 30% on his corner threes. He's a 6'4" shooting guard, small forward, still young at age 26, but his primary help to the Phoenix Suns is on the defensive end. He can spend a lot of time guarding another team's best player. He's solid perimeter defender. Still, struggles with his shot from time to time. There have actually been occasions where he's been a little streaky and has actually been able to make some shots from the outside. But again, that's not his forte. His forte is hustle plays, being on the defensive end, getting loose balls, getting into passing lanes. That's the kind of guy that Josh Okogie is. That's the kind of person that he is going to benefit with on the team. He's a good team guy, well liked in the locker room. I think Mike Budenholzer is going to be happy to keep Josh Okogie on the roster. And I think that he is going to have to find his place in this Suns rotation. We'll kind of get more into that a little bit. But now with Okogie signed for the 2-year, $16 million deal, the Suns now have a record breaking payroll, the highest payroll in NBA history. It's wild to think about that. But now the Suns have about $400 million on the books. This coming from Bobby Marks' record-breaking numbers in Phoenix. The Suns are the first $4 million team on payroll, with $223 million going to salaries, with $198 million being the projected tax. Now, he went on to add the Kogi signing is smart and gives Phoenix an $8 million trade asset to use during the season. Because of the rules of the second apron, his salary cannot be aggregate with other players on the Suns roster, meaning they can't use two different players to try and trade for one. So, for example, they can't trade Josh Okogie and Nasir Little for someone like Walker Kessler, for example. The contract had to be 2 years because he was signed with early bird rights. That's part of the reason why Okogie was able to get more than the veteran minimum and to have the Suns be a second apron team. So if we take a look at just all the salaries that the Suns are going to have on their roster, this is the current roster as it's projected to be. Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, all making over 49 million. Yusuf Nurkic making over 18. Grayson Allen, who re-signed at the end of last season, making 15 million. Royce O'Neal re-signing this offseason to 9.8, and then the Josh Okogie projected about 8 million. There's a Nasir Little still sitting there at 6.7. The projected Bowl, which is under 3, and then on the rest of the list with the reserve players: David Roddy, Ryan Dunn, Mason Plumlee, who signed on a vet minimum, Damian Lee, who had re-signed after declining his player option, as we mentioned, Monte Morris on the vet minimum, and second round pick Oso Ighodaro, Jalen Bridges, Colin Gillespie being the team's two-way players. There is a two-way contract that's still up in the air, but that's possibly going to be determined by who stands out on the Suns' summer league team. As they head in Vegas, they're going to be tipping off this weekend, so there may be another player who earns himself a two-way contract from there. They have that third two-way contract spot that is still open. Now, the Phoenix Suns have their roster. We've been kind of waiting to see exactly what the Suns are going to look like. Where are they going to run it back? Where they're going to be some trades? Where Yusuf Nurkic's going to be someone that would be on the trading block. For the most part, this team is running it back with some tweaks on the bench. So let's project what the Suns' rotation is going to be now that we have a full picture on what this roster is going to look like. You have 15 guys signed to the active roster, and most NBA teams over the course of the regular season will have about a rotation that stretches out to somewhere between 9 and 10. Normally that's just, because some guys, they don't want to play their star players, you know, a load of minutes over the course of the regular season. They're going to want to give some guys who've maybe been around the block a little bit some more rest time in games, even than they play. So as opposed to maybe when they'll play them in the playoffs, they may closer to 38 to 40. They may play closer to like 30 to 32. That leaves an availability. Most playoff rotations are about 7 to 8 players. Regular season rotations 9 to 10. So let's take a just quick peek at the projected depth chart of the Phoenix Suns. Now, this is coming from ESPN, and this is again just a projection. It's not necessarily is a good place for the Suns to be in. I think that the Suns kind of put themselves in kind of a hole where they were financially. They've got the highest payroll in the league now, but they were committed to running it back, and they were able to do so while also adding some young talent. And they kind of really dig themselves out of that hole, especially with the moves they made during the NBA draft. So they've got some young talent, some guys who are going to be under contract for cheap for the next few years. Then they've still got their big three. And if things kind of unfortunately fall apart, they still have assets that they can trade later down the road to acquire more draft capital, maybe some more young pieces to kind of continue to build things out if they don't end up working. I think the biggest concern with this lineup and this roster is injuries. Obviously, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, they have injury history. Are they going to be able to play, somewhere between 65 to 70 games together as opposed to the limited amount that they played last year and really develop that chemistry with the other players? We'll have to wait and see. Is someone like Grayson Allen going to be on the trading block near the trading deadline? Again, we'll have to see in terms of how the season looks and how things start to unfold over the course of the season. But I like this Suns roster. I like this rotation. I think really it all comes down to health. And if everyone stays healthy, I would be shocked if the Suns weren't one of the contenders this upcoming season. So it's going to be a fun ride to kind of take a peek at and see what happens. All right, but that's all I got for you guys. Let us know what you guys think about this Suns roster in the comment section. Do you like that Josh Okogie is taking that final roster spot? Do you think they should have maybe gone after someone else? And what do you think of this projected Suns rotation? Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate all the love and support. Remember, if you want to make sure you're keeping up to date with all of the latest Suns news and updates, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing from us here at Suns Digest. Really appreciate you guys once more. Thanks for joining us. I'm CJ Pierre signing off, and go Phoenix Suns.